Mercury pollution was a topic that was asked in 2023 prelims examination. Mercury is a heavy metal that exists in various forms with the potential to cause serious environmental and health issues when released into the air, water, or soil. Mercury pollution is a global concern due to its persistence in the environment, bioaccumulation in living organisms, and toxicity. Volcanic eruptions and weathering of rocks naturally release small amounts of mercury into the environment. Mercury is often used to extract gold from ore, leading to significant mercury emissions and contamination of water bodies. Burning coal releases mercury into the air, which can eventually settle in water bodies and soil. Certain industrial activities, including cement production and chlorine manufacturing, contribute to mercury emissions. The incineration of waste materials, especially those containing mercury-containing products, can release the metal into the atmosphere. Mercury undergoes a process called bioaccumulation, where it builds up in living organisms. In aquatic ecosystem, mercury can accumulate in fish and other aquatic species. In aquatic environments, mercury can transform into methyl mercury, a highly toxic form that magnifies up the food chain, posing several risks to predators including humans. Let's discuss some of the health impacts of mercury. Mercury exposure, particularly to methyl mercury, is linked to neurological damage, developmental issues in children, and cognitive impairments. Mercury can adversely affect the reproductive systems of both men and women, leading to fertility issues and developmental problems in the newborn children. Chronic exposure to mercury is associated with cardiovascular problems, including increasing risk of heart attacks and hypertension. Mercury exposure can cause respiratory issues and gastro problems and damage to kidneys. Adopted in 2013, the Minamata Convention is a global treaty aimed at reducing the mercury emissions and exposure. It addresses various aspects, including ASGM, industrial process, and emissions from coal-fired power plants. Many countries have established regulations to control mercury emissions from various sources, including industrial facilities and waste management. The adoption of cleaner technology and practices in industry, especially in gold mining and coal combustion, can help reduce mercury emissions. Proper disposal and recycling of products containing mercury, such as batteries, electronic devices, can prevent the release of the metal into the environment. Continuous monitoring of mercury levels in air, water, and food is essential to understand the trends and to mitigate the important strategies. Mercury as a toxic metal, and exposure to any amount of mercury carries some level of risk. Various organizations and regulatory bodies have established guidelines for acceptable levels of mercury and health risks. These guidelines are typically based on extensive research and risk assessment. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the OSHA, in the United States has set permissible exposure limits for mercury vapor at 0.1 mg by meter cube over an 8-hour workday. National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, the NIOSH, recommends a lower exposure limit for mercury vapor at 0.025 mg per meter cube over an 8-hour workday. The WHO has established a provisional tolerable weekly intake, or PTWI, for methyl mercury, the form of mercury found in fish, as 1.6 micrograms per kilogram of body weight. In India, the regulatory framework for mercury exposure is managed by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. India follows occupational limits by the Directorate General Factory Advice Service and Labour Institute, the DGFASLI, which operates under the Ministry of Labour and Employment. The Central Pollution Control Board in India is responsible for regulating and monitoring environmental pollutions, including mercury. The standards for discharge of pollutants into water bodies, including mercury, are outlined in the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. The Food Safety Standards Authority of India, the FSSAI, is responsible for settling food safety standards, including permissible levels of contaminants, and which is most probably mercury levels in food items, particularly in food. Mercury pollution poses a significant threat both environment and human health. Efforts to reduce emissions, enforce regulations, and promote alternative technologies are crucial to addressing this global change.